Good evening. Let's bring the Pownal Elementary School District, open that at 5:30, please. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any public comments? Action items, financial, treasurer's report for March.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Ayes have it. Consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to add an additional warrant, warrant number 2014, in the amount of $3,806.81 for the fuel bill, which didn't, or utility bill, which didn't make it into the original packet.
Second.
All those in favor? Ayes have it. Policy 5016.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Ayes have it. 5180, tobacco to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? None? All in favor? Ayes have it. Facility update, Kevin?
So just a couple things. One, when we were talking about the budget before, I just wanted to make sure, and I mentioned it to Cindy afterwards, about the roof, that we had $80,000 put away for the roof that they figured. Originally, when I started, they said 2018, the primary wing was going to need a roof. When we did the doors in 2017, we had them reassess it. They said it looked fine, and they did some edging on it for $700-800 and said probably to have it reassessed 2020. So I just want to remind everybody of that money that was in for that.
You said 83,000?
I think it was 80 that we had in there.
Is it deal match?
Yes, and Jim Kosis was coming back then, and he's the one that said it was in there, that amount was in there for the roof, and after we still had money to do the doors that year and still keep that money in there. And we might want to think about, I think I mentioned this a year or so ago, the elevator, a sinking fund for that. It's working fine. What they've said is there's some things that can happen to it and they can repair, but there's, if certain things happen, they no more parts for it, certain parts.
Could you get us a quote on what it would cost?
They said
to
roughly
replace it?
40 to 50,000
To replace it.
to replace it, because they would still use the same, spot and all that, but
Right.
it would be in that area to replace it. Said it may last you another 10, 15 years, but if certain parts go, there's certain stuff they can't get anymore.
And if it's replaced, do you know how long that's guaranteed?
I don't, but I can find that out. And then the basketball and tennis courts that we've been working on, I did talk to Wilson and Lawrence again today, and I had asked them a couple weeks ago. I talked to Renee, and we were talking about what was included as far as if we needed gravel, if we needed topsoil, trucking, that type of thing. And the basketball hoops and poles were not included in that estimate, which he said were about $1,500 a piece, but I got him to include them. He called me today and said he will include those. He's been set back a little bit with the weather. He could start, weather permitting, he could start the third week in June. I talked to Amanda about this today too. And then he's quite sure, unless we had a real problem in August with weather, that it would be done before school started. But the nice part is, that was 83.
That was 83.
Yes, which would have been a little over 86 with the poles, but he said yes, he would include those. So,
Nice.
and those were basically. I am checking on the lunch tables again, because those, they're no longer making parts for those.
Right.
I talked to a gentleman that comes every year and goes over them, Joe Weber, and he's trying to get a hold of the company. He's called them twice. I talked to him again today. They haven't returned his call to find out if he can buy them direct and install them, or if we have to have a dealer. If there's a dealer that he has to get them from, and he would do the installation. So he's supposed to let me know just as soon as he finds out something on
You're
those.
talking about replacing them all with new, correct?
Well, if we, depending on how much they are and how much we have, I mean, even if we replaced 3 or 4 of them, then at least we could use the old stuff for parts if we had problems with the other, and do them in a couple phases if we needed to. But the main thing is he's gonna find out how much per pocket. There's 2 tables per pocket. We have 7 pockets, 14 tables. So he's gonna find out what it would cost. He's just having trouble getting a hold of it. And I went on the internet, and there's nobody around it. Most of the tables now are the type that
Round
just,
ones,
yeah, you know, and they just
restaurant
squeeze up,
type.
but we don't have room for that here, so we still have to have the pocket tables, but there's not a lot of dealers, and he's one of the few I know. When he came last time, he comes out of Maine, but he spent the night because he works on Bennington, several of Benningtons too, so he's one of the only ones that still does it. So those were the main things. I just wanted to remind you of the roof and let you know what was going on with so Amanda had emailed him a sheet to fill in writing what the gravel would be if we need more. He won't know. There's not a certain amount he needs to add more, but we know now, or we should. I think he might have got that to her. He said he would. He did, okay. So we know what, and permit-wise, we get the permit, he doesn't. He'll notify DigSafe. And I don't think we need a permit. I was gonna call the town because it's not a new, it's a repair.
Right.
So I don't think we should have
I
to
don't
have a
think we need
permit
one. We'll double
anyways,
check.
but I'll double check on that.
Yeah.
So we kinda got that all dialed in today. And he gave me several references. I called about 8 of them. 6 of them called me back, and they all had excellent stuff to say about him. Nobody had a bad experience. They all had great things to say about him.
Good.
So,
Thank you so much.
all right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Kevin, for all your
Thank you
work
so
on
much.
that.
Yes, and thank you guys. I don't know, this is next month will be your last meeting, I guess, so, last as a board. So thank you very much for being so supportive and everything you've done. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for saving us that $3,000.
Yes, absolutely. Well, since there's no superintendent, do you have a report, Renee?
I do not.
Pass the stuff down.
Principal's report?
Thank you.
Just wanted to mention a few things. We are in the middle of end-of-the-year testing, and with the weather the way it is and the stress of testing, I think we're all at ready for a break, but it's going to be a little while. So next fall we'll give an update on those scores and everything, but it is a stressful time for everybody. With one retirement, we did post for a first grade because we have 3 current kindergarten. We would hire for that one first grade. So we will be in the midst of looking for candidates for that position, and probably by the June meeting, we'll have a nomination for that first grade position. Other than that, I know I mentioned field day being the 18th, along with the barbecue. And I want to thank the board for serving ice cream on that day. And then we'll have our talent show with our students in the afternoon. Hopefully we'll have our same MC as we did last year. Other than that, I didn't have anything more.
Excellent. Chair's report, Cindy couldn't make it tonight, and she didn't tell me to pass anything along, so I guess we're good. FYI, budget status report is enclosed. The SVSU student enrollment is enclosed for May.
Motion we go into executive session.
Does Ben want to?
Ben, were you here to say something?
Well, yes, I think I'm on the agenda for.
I was going to say something when, after we finished here, if we get into executive session, because that's what I think it was for. Under the consent agenda, it was already approved because you all
Oh, leave of
Agreed.
absence, yes,
to it.
yes.
So
Yeah, I was really here to further explain of any my intentions for the request. If anyone was curious to know, that's really all I came for. But
Since
if
it-
it's been
since it
approved,
was approved, I don't think we would go into executive
And
session.
we had a detailed reason why you're going. I wish you the best of luck for the year.
Thank you so very much.
Hopefully you will want to come back.
Well, the whole point of it would be to experience some trauma and special educational training and workshops that I could definitely bring back, because I know at this point there is definitely a need for it. And I think it would be a really great opportunity to experience that for a short term and bring back the skills and knowledge to Pownal and the district. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So there's no need for executive session?
I don't believe so.
Nope, no need for executive session then. Okay.
Withdraw my motion.
All right. I guess we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Now, what are you
Let's
gonna do
have
for,
it.
what are you gonna do for